Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Krista and this is part 2 of the 4-part meditation series that I was inspired recently to do. I hope that you enjoyed the very first video called Creative Meditation and Sitting. Today's video we're going to look at something a little bit deeper with regard to the process of meditation and having visions and experiences, outer body experiences, astral travel, this type of phenomenon, and how the Zen and Buddhist communities already think about these experiences. So I have some notes here to my left. I'm going to be looking at those so I can stay a little focused today. There's 6 themes that I wanted to look at today. Everything that I'm sourcing and talking about today will be listed in the description for this video below as well for your reference. So let's begin. So the topic of this video, of course, is what is Nyam meditation? What does Zen and Tibetan Buddhism say about it? So I want to preface this whole video by stating that I don't have a professional background in meditation. I only read one very small book many years before I ever even started meditating about the process, about Buddhism, about meditation and yoga and so forth. And it just didn't mesh with me. I didn't really think too much about it until in 2012 I began meditation with a YouTube channel, Monk. So his information will be in the description as well. He is quite phenomenal, very profound leader, and I consider him to be an exceptionally important person in this world. So a lot of credit goes to makyo Rinpoche. And so that being said, I got into it just with the impression that it's probably going to be helpful, it won't do me any harm, it's free, and what's the worst that can happen? So that was my attitude. I actually didn't expect anything except to feel a little lighter, maybe have some more patience, and to have some more compassion, because that's what meditation kind of promises, right? You know, you're going to relax, feel a little bit better about life, have some patience, and compassion will be heightened. And this is true. Okay, this really did occur, and you know, that was many years ago now. I still meditate, and yeah, you won't go backwards in life meditating. So I still think very strongly about it, no matter what your outcome is or your personal experience. You know, give it a chance and do it with an open heart and an open mind. I think that you'll come away with at least some calming experiences. If you do it over the years and you do it regularly, you could encounter some profound experiences, and that's what we're going to call Nyam meditation today. Nyam meditation is actually frowned upon in the Buddhist and Tibetan community. You've probably heard the phrase "kill the Buddha" before. It's similar to what is going to be encountered in those visions. So whether you're envisioning a spiritual actor, a historical spiritual leader, say Jesus or Mary or the Buddha himself, what that theme around killing the Buddha means in that vision or in that moment is that they want to encourage non-attachment. So don't get attached to that, and don't take away from that you've reached some, pinnacle of spiritual experience. But I think personally it's less about the spiritual experience or the Gnostic experience, which is what I've found occurred in my experiences. And it's more about non-attachment. So I think if we can just stay away from attaching to anything and attaching to outcomes, whether it's really good or really bad, and this can become a challenge for you, trust me, the more blissful this becomes for you, especially if you're having profound experiences, you could have a yearning for these or a longing for these. And I would suggest paying attention to that and trying to come to terms with not reaching for those, but accepting those and welcoming those and treating them very delicately while not staying attached to them, because they can become profoundly blissful. And it has been my experience that I did long for them because they were so profound and so exceptional, and like nothing else I've ever experienced or seen on earth. Even as a younger person in my youth, for example, doing a variety of, say, drugs or alcohol, or say some profound sexual experiences, for example. They are on their own level. They're in their own confines. I would compare Nyam or blissful or astral travel meditation to nothing else. So let's explain why that is. So Nyam meditation, or makyo meditation, translated in Tibetan or Buddhist meditation, is considered the devil's cave or the ghost's cave. So while you're having these meditative experiences where there's an astral travel, or you have a vision in your meditative experiences, the reason why it's going to feel so profound is because it's going to act like a dream that you remember, okay? So here's the difference. If you have a dream and it wakes you up, you're gonna feel something from it. It's exciting, it's terrorizing, it's blissful, but it's the feeling that it leaves you with that makes it stick in your head, and it's that reason that makes you want to tell other people. I had this crazy dream last night, these things happened, I woke up feeling, okay, fill in the blank. This is how it's going to feel within, say, makyo or Nyam meditation, when you start to have visualizations, when you start to encounter apparition, okay? Places that you'll go to, experiences that you'll have, okay, as a light body, are going to give you an experiences that leave you with a feeling, and it will be profound. You may not even recognize it at first. I certainly didn't. For the first, I would say, at least 6 or 9 months at the beginning of some of these profound experiences that I was returning from meditation or astral travel with, I just didn't think too much of them beyond that was interesting. Once I started putting everything together from beginning to end about what those experiences meant, they started to tell a story. So in the interest of not becoming attached to the story, right? It's very, very important, even though I'm not Buddhist, even though I'm not meditation expert, for example. I didn't go to school for this. It was just many, many years of practice and experience, that I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that we have these experiences. I think what may cause trouble or could cause concern is, like I said at the beginning, the attachment to it, the clinging to it. So maybe don't be too uptight about having those experiences, and just be aware of not clinging to them. So that being said, we're going to avoid becoming attached to these experiences, and they may feel blissful, enchanting. It may even feel like rapture. And I know these are kind of strong words, that's strong language, but this has been my experience for sure. It has felt like an enchantment or a rapture. And the reason I know it's okay, the reason I know that I'm not worried or I'm not afraid of any of these apparitions or visions, is because how I feel when I am awake, or when I come back into the body. And I've cried quite a bit. These can lead you to, sob profoundly as well. I couldn't speak many times for at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes after some of these meditation experiences, because they were so overwhelming and so profound. So just let that be what it is too, Maybe if you have 15 minutes to meditate and that's been your process, give yourself a good half an hour or so for the whole experience, in case you come back from the first 15 minutes of meditation and you do have to sort of, gather yourself a little, or, assess what you've just experienced or how you feel now. Because the feelings of, peace and serenity can be so profound at first that it can be shocking, especially if you've experienced a lot of trauma or experienced a lot of pain or upset or nervousness or anxiety, etc., going into it. It may feel like the release of these types of that heaviness can be incredibly profound. So give yourself a little bit of time for that as well. And just sit with it and let yourself rest with it, and try not to be afraid of that. You know, it's a good thing. You're letting go of some heaviness. So the second thing on my list around Nyam meditation and Zen and Buddhist attitudes toward it is, like I said at the beginning, was, you know, condemn attachment to the visions. All I mean by that is, you know, don't hang on to them in terms of seeking them out when you go back into meditation, okay? So for example, let's just say you experience a beautiful vision in meditation and there's an apparition of something beautiful and profound to you. You come out of your meditative experience, you're happy and longing, okay? You're happy, blissful, but now you have that image in your mind. That was a beautiful experience. I want that. I need that. I'm seeking that. I'm going to go back into meditation and try to do that again, okay? I'm going to suggest try to stay away from that as much as possible, because that is clinging and that is attachment, okay? So we're going to stay away from that, and we're going to continue to go back in, even after that profound experience. We're going to continue to go back in a day or two, whatever your meditation process schedule is, and you're just going to go through all your regular steps, 1, 2, 3, and then you're just going to let the meditation experience take you. You know, be willing and open each and every time, okay? If you feel as though the attachment is there or the longing is there to go back to that feeling, for example, take a couple of days away from meditation, okay? Just take a little bit of a break. Maybe consider what that longing means to you. Consider how profound that is. You could have some extraordinary feelings about that vision or that apparition, for example, that will last perhaps a week or so. So, you know, give yourself a little break from that if you need to, if it means helping you not to attach, okay? So we're going to go in to the meditation process without expectation every time, okay? And if you find you're going to be caught up in a memory of something, or you want to reach a certain plateau that you did previously, we're going to take a little break from it, or you're going to, you know, give yourself a little pep talk before you go into it. I don't need to reach. There is no need for longing. I don't need to attach, right? And that's freedom. And the reason I bring all this up and why I think it's essential for the meditation experience is in terms of non-attachment and allowing new processes and visions and experiences, is that you will cut yourself off from moving any further past where you currently are. Even if you did experience something blissful, what's to say there's not something beyond that, or something else you still need to sort out in the subconscious, or another place or area or level, as it were, that you can attain or generate or learn about. So, you know, do yourself a favor and allow for strong experiences to have their own minute in your life, in your waking life, and then let that go when you're back into the meditative experience. So the third thing on my list is that you will experience overwhelming peace and bliss. It's extraordinary. There is a point where you'll get to where you may feel like, how am I supposed to move past this? How am I supposed to go into the meditative experience and not want to, you know, go to that place again, have that blissful experience again? The reason you can do that is just say, it is what it is. That was lovely. What a beautiful happening. That's extraordinary. I'll always remember that. You can be fond of it, but don't cling, okay? The whole point is to remove, right? You want that blank space, that blank spot. And if you have an expectation or some place to go in your mind, that's expectant, right? That's the opposite of exploratory. And you'll get stuck there. So do yourself a favor, be careful not to attach to that level of escape, or as it turns out through my experience years into it, you could even develop a longing for what we would consider physical death, okay? So these experiences can be so profound, and you can go to extraordinary places, say as a light body, which I consider happened to me. And it's so peaceful, right? And it's so free that if you're not careful and you start to yearn for that type of thing, even when you're back in this planet, in this plane, on Terra, as I call it, on Earth, it can sort of cloud your interpretation of this world. So now be mindful of what I'm going to say here, because it's not going to cloud it in a necessarily negative way. Everything will become more beautiful, more profound, more loving. Everything becomes more important, like a blade of grass. You know, the squirrel in the tree outside, the dog barking at your neighbor's house, okay? Everything becomes this miracle, and it can be overwhelming. But on the flip side of that, you now know what it's like to feel that type of blissful happiness and profound peace here in your physical body on Terra, on Earth. And you'll notice that versus what it was like to have no body, okay? As a light body, when you astral travel, there's no weight. You don't have this. You don't have any weight at all. This is why it's critical, if you want to be able to experience these things, or if you are meditating and you're curious about experiencing these levels, for example, that's why it's critical to get past all the thoughts and beliefs and ideas and do the first process. You know, sit with yourself for a long time and get through all those issues and memories and trauma, right? You get rid of all that, and now you're free. You can let go. You can be free. So what happened to me briefly is that everything became more beautiful, you know, profoundly beautiful here on Earth, but I also knew of a different feeling, of a lighter, more freeing feeling. And there was probably a good week where I had to sit with myself outside of meditation and really consider how much of a miracle this life is, and this world and the earth and everything in it. And to be grateful for that, and to just be in that and not hurry that process up. You may think, for example, it's so beautiful here, everything's a miracle. And it's almost like in that type of beauty, there's a profound loss. There's a recognition of a loss there, right? We're all aging. There's sorrow. We know that there's an end, you know, to this, for example, to this physical world. If any of you are experiencing, for example, physical pain, emotional or psychological distress, and you've managed to work through some of the beginning of the meditative experiences where you're able, even at this stage, to astral travel, and you experience some of the bliss or extraordinary freedom from the physical body, there may be a temptation there. And I really want to make note that, to beware of that. You know, don't leave the earth or the world sooner than you're called, okay? Because it is very, very peaceful. The beautiful thing is that you will know that you do live forever. That's my experience. I do think that as a light body, as energy, there's no end. It's not like it's just cut off and fizzled out like a candle. It's just that it goes somewhere else. So that's what astral travel is. You're just going to go somewhere else. But look at it this way. This physical self is finite. There is an end to this. So you'll always be able to go back to that astral body or other level for phenomenal peace eventually, okay? The other portion of being able to experience this through meditation, this bliss, and to be grateful and to consider everything, including your own self, to be a miracle, is to just be grateful. Be grateful for all that. Be grateful for the process, and know that you'll be out there again someday. We're all going to go back to source, okay? Because energy doesn't die, it just goes somewhere else. So, long story short, don't interrupt your own life with this. Don't say, for example, it's too painful in my body, I'm going to just go become a light body and I'm just going to get out of this world somehow permanently. Don't do that. That's extreme longing, and that's extreme attachment. And I do agree with Buddhist and Zen philosophy that that's not going to help you. That's not positive. We're going to want to separate that. Separate longing and attachment from willingness and curiosity, okay? These are very, very positive. So stay in that mind frame as much as possible. Let's move on. Nyam meditation, I believe, must be tempered with the everyday and the ordinary, right? So like I said, I think it will help with a profound appreciation and understanding of the natural world, including yourself and others in it, to the point where you may consider things to be a miracle, even the simplest, smallest things to be a miracle. And in my estimation, that is one of the brilliances, it's one of the beauties, it's one of the gifts in the meditation experience, is that it allows you to appreciate and to focus on what's really important and to give thanks, including for yourself, okay? Including for yourself, because a lot of us, particularly if you're a woman, a lot of us going into this have a lot of unresolved, say, trauma or issues or concerns or beliefs about ourselves, okay, that are not helpful, they're not loving, they're not healing. And this is an act of self-love, and this is an act of healing that will influence everyone in your life, everyone. So if you consider that a selfish act, please don't. It's an altruistic act to take care of yourself, because everyone around you and the world at large, I believe, benefit from your health and healing. So try not to consider it a selfish thing. It's a very, very positive thing, and everyone benefits. But the everyday and the ordinary versus, some of these profound experiences, I do think it's a delicate balance. And as I mentioned briefly just a few moments ago, I think it's important to come to terms with these. If you have very profound experiences, maybe just sit out a couple of meditative sessions. If you have a schedule or a calendar, for example, just sit them out for a little while and come to terms with what your experience is. Maybe write it down if you don't want to forget. Contemplate what that may mean for you. And then how does it make you feel? As long as you feel good and positive and better than you did before, then I would keep going, okay? So 5th of the 6th in this video is to push through visions and those experiences without fear, okay? So back in the original video, we talked about protecting yourself. Just imagine that you're protected. There's no reason to have any fear. Anything that comes up is something in your subconscious that you are ready at that point in your meditative experience to encounter and to work through. So trust that you're able to do this, right? You want to integrate these experiences into your everyday life. So push through visions and experiences. Take them for what they are. Very positive, blissful, refreshing, funny. It allowed you to release, okay? So a lot of tears. You can actually start sobbing, for example, from an element of that depth of release, that letting go of, and I mean permanently, okay? And we mentioned this in the first video as well. Once you get to the end of something that you no longer need to work through or deal with or encounter or, process anymore, you can now move on to something entirely different, and you'll never have to encounter that again. So recognize that in your everyday life, and integrate these experiences, right? Be grateful. Consider yourself a miracle. Consider this experience a miracle. And recognize that we all have a very short period of time in this physical body, who we are right now, to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish, whatever it is you want to do, right? We're all finite in this dimension. So maybe consider that not only a gift, but a challenge. What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that gift, right? So that's what I mean by integrate it into your everyday life. Just try to do something very, very positive with the effects of your meditative experiences. And the final thing on my list that I have is good or bad. Okay, how do you know if this Nyam or Devil's Cave experience is good or bad? Okay, well, the reason I know that my experiences were good is because of the fruit of the experience. Okay, what is the fruit? What's the, another way to frame that is, the proof is in the pudding. Okay, what does it taste like? What is, when it's all said and done, how do you feel? Okay, what are the results? Do you feel down, depressed, upset, anxious, worried after some of those Nyam experiences or astral travel? If that's the case, I would just cut it off for a little while. Maybe go see a therapist in person. I would recommend this at any stage of the meditative experience anyway. You have nothing to lose. In fact, before I began my meditative experiences, I was already involved with a therapeutic counseling situation so I could work through in other arenas. So in a one-on-one or conversational therapy, for example, I could get through some of these things. And I knew that it was good for me because I felt better at the end of it. So consider it a type of counseling or a type of therapy. When you're done your meditative experiences, whether or not you have had outer body experiences or astral travel, or you've just managed to get through a major theme that's been sort of haunting you or daunting you, you've got through something and you awake from that, how do you feel? If you feel good, positive, blissful, happy, peaceful, grateful, pleasantly emotional, that I would say that the fruit of that experience is positive. I would say if you're anxious or depressed or upset, I would say that that's maybe not necessarily a good experience. Now, I'm not talking here around good or bad when it comes to putting thoughts and ideas in clouds and watching them wash away. I think those are always going to be good experiences. What I'm strictly discussing here is Nyam meditation. So what is considered to be something that can be sticky, right? You can long and yearn for it. That's not cool. You don't want to do that. If you have, say, an outer body experience and you come back from that and you feel unsure of yourself, I would say maybe we're going to move past that, right? We're going to, experience that. It is what it is, and we're going to move past that towards something positive. Things may not look on the surface in the first place as they are underneath anyway, and you may not even understand what profound experiences you're having until months later anyway. So I do think it's a nice idea to write some things down if you do want to remember them or if they are profound. Some things that would be scary in real life, for example, are not going to be scary in your visions or astral travel anyway. So, don't anticipate being afraid of anything would be the way that I might leave this series, for example. Just like I said, be open, curious, be willing, don't have any expectations, and trust that you're protected and that it's all for the higher good. Your intention is to obtain peace and clarity and compassion. So I think if we go into the meditative process with that in mind, I think it'll be a very, very positive experience for you. and you'll come out feeling refreshed and much, much better than you did going into it, which is the whole point. So like I said, anything that I'm talking about today that I'm referencing will be in the description for the video below. There is a part 3 and 4 to this series, so I look forward to seeing you in those videos, and until then, take excellent care of yourselves. Bye for now.